Hey everyone, Lewis aka Spider-Man 991 here with my weekly comic book review where I talk about all the new comics I read this week, and I always review them from worst to best. Let's get started. Darth Vader, number 15. The only cool thing in this issue is Darth Vader fighting a giant squid monster. I mean, the first arc of this title, when it came out, it was really impressive. The arc was about how Vader acquired his red kyber crystal. I thought that was great, and I liked it, so I kept the title going. But since that first arc, this has just been, it's been really in decline. I mean, the first arc had a clear objective, but then afterwards it's just been Vader leading the Inquisitors on mission of the week, basically, and there really wasn't much of a larger story being told. And with this issue, I just kind of figured, okay, that's it. I am officially dropping this title from my list. Wonder Woman, number 45, the conclusion to the Amazons Attacked arc. Jason, Wonder Woman's brother, manages to get the Themyscira and help Hippolyta fight Grail. Meanwhile, Wonder Woman is able to defeat Darkseid by calling upon the spirits of Zeus, her father, and her half-siblings who Darkseid killed and absorbed their power in order to get back to his former state of power. Okay, Wonder Woman, and as Wonder Woman defeats Darkseid, Darkseid mysteriously vanishes, and then when we see him waking up, he has no memory of who he is. And this pretty much is the scene that sets up Darkseid to join Wonder Woman's Justice League in the upcoming title, Justice League Odyssey. That's really the only thing that develops out of this arc, was Darkseid losing his memory and setting him up for Odyssey. This issue, it was just, it felt, the conclusion was very formulaic of good guys beating bad guys. And another good thing, I will say though, that another good thing is Jason finally meeting his mother, Hippolyta. But yeah, Wonder Woman has been in a decline for me. It just really hasn't been that great. This arc has had incredibly slow pacing, and until someone else takes over Wonder Woman, I'm dropping it from my list. I can't believe this title is so low on the list. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Annual number 2018. Okay, Lord Dracon attacks a bunch of different Power Ranger teams. That is all you need to know. Some stories were good. I really enjoyed the stories that featured the Zeo Rangers and the Space Rangers. However, this entire annual is just one long clip show. If you're reading Shattered Grid, I would say just borrow this from someone who already bought it, but you can just skip it, because to be honest, even for an annual that's just a clip show, this thing is $8, and for me, I think that is way too much to be paying for this. Titans Annual number 2. This wraps up the whole Brain and Monsieur Mala arc, and it reunites Roy and Donna with Dick and Wally. However, to be honest, this really could have just wrapped up the entire story in a standard single issue instead of an annual. Having it in an annual was just unnecessary, because it really, as I was reading it, felt like the story was really being stretched in order to fill up all the pages of this annual. Fortunately, on the bright side though, Dan Abnett, he writes some excellent dialogue for his characters that managed to keep the story entertaining, so I think that's something good. To be honest, I'm not so sure. And next month, Titans is like sort of taking a month off. There is a Titans special that's supposed to tie the team into the whole Justice League No Justice thing, but I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of not looking forward to the direction the book is going to go right after No Justice. Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps, number 43. The Dawn Stars have grown in significant numbers since the last issue, and the Green Lantern Corps managed to track down where the Dawn Stars base is, but when they get there, they discover that there are a lot more Dawn Stars than they anticipated, and there are a lot more Dawn Stars than there are Lanterns. I really enjoyed the dialogue exchanges between Hal Jordan and Tomar 2, and also this arc is pretty much building up to Robert Venditti's final Green Lantern story, and you can really tell by the ending of the book when John Stewart orders everyone, okay, we need a ton of allies to help us. So basically, it looks like the Lanterns are recruiting all of the people that could possibly help them during Robert Venditti's run, which is pretty much something that a lot of writers do when they're about to conclude run on a book. I am a little surprised though that the ending scene didn't at least tease the Sinestro Corps. I mean, I really hope that they do bring back the Sinestro Corps for for this final arc. And by the way, Sinestro is alive, and I really hope that they bring him back as well. Invincible Iron Man 599. Tony returns to see his biological mother Amanda, and they have a talk while Tony in his armor flies over to visit Rhodey's grave. And as they finish talking, we find out that Amanda has been in contact with Tony's biological father, who is alive. Also, there are some really dwindling plots in this issue, such as Doctor Doom being a father, Riri and the Armor Legion learning that their benefactor is Leonardo da Vinci, and the Hood, who visits the Stark Industries Board of Directors. As we got into all the... Honestly, I didn't mind the whole Tony and Amanda scenes. I thought those were great, but everything else, though, to me it just feels like at this point Bendis is trying to cram everything in and get it all done with try to get everything done for the next issue, which is the 600th issue. I honestly think that he's pretty much speeding through all of this stuff just so that he can have everything finished at the 600th issue so that his run can conclude with that. I'm a little uneasy about that because I think once we do get the 600th issue, it's just going to be everything else is just going to be very rushed in order to conclude it, wrap everything up. Detective Comics number 979. Ulysses Armstrong uses Brother Eye to override Tim's consciousness with that of Tim's future self. Then future Tim and Ulysses decide to rebuild the Belfry in Gotham. And in order to stop them, Batman calls upon it. Figures he needs the one person that knows Tim, Stephanie Brown. Artwork-wise, this issue had some very impressive layouts. Had some very impressive layouts in terms of like where they had all the dialogue exchanges and everything. I thought it was great. I do think though that the whole use of Brother Eye and the Omax, it's all starting to get worn out at this point. I really hope that this starts to come, and we've only got 2 issues left in James Tynion's run, so hopefully by next issue the OMAC arc will be done and the 981 will just be a sort of epilogue to everything that's happened. Archie number 30. This series is still pretty solid. I like every issue. I like it. It delivers a very entertaining story, and while keeping some humor. And in this issue, it has a cliffhanger ending when Cheryl and Jason's biological father arrives at Riverdale High's dance. I really love the way that this issue sort of retold the beginning of Moose and Midge's relationship. And I think I appreciated that more, especially given what happened to Midge on Riverdale recently. Yeah, if you know what I'm talking about, please do not spoil it in the comments. Moon Knight number 194. This story was definitely dark. It's the type of dark story that I expect from a Moon Knight title, which I appreciate as a fan. We sort of get an idea learn what childhood trauma sort of created Mark's dissociative identity disorder and what eventually led to the development of all his other personalities. The story does use Mark's Jewish background as a good plot point, which I thought was very great as well. I will say this though, Moon Knight fans will appreciate this, but if you haven't read Moon Knight and you think you can get into it with just this story, it's probably not the best thing for new readers. Also, I did do a written review on the Marvel Report. Check that out, link in the description below. The Terrifics, number 3. I am loving this title. Now, last issue we found out that the team, Plastic Man, Mr. Terrific, Metamorpho, and Phantom Girl, can't be more than a mile apart from each other. And when they try to go farther away, some dark matter energy keeps pulling them back together. So the team decides to stay at Simon Stagg's base until they can figure out how to separate from each other. Also, because all of Mr. Terrific's old equipment from his old company is there because Stagg bought all the company's assets. And while the team's getting ready to be settled, one of Simon Stagg's war wheels go nuts, and the team decide to disable it. And when they do, they discover that Phantom Girl, who whenever she turns solid because of her time in the dark matter dimension, she somehow causes matter to anything she touches, it disintegrates. So they figure out during this battle, they figure out how to weaponize Phantom Girl's destabilization touch. But yeah, this is the conclusion of the whole introducing the team arc, and I gotta say, I'm impressed. I really do like this title. It has potential. I think Jeff Lemire is doing a great job on it. I can't wait to see what happens next to the Terrifics in the upcoming issues. Alright, now my last comic, my pick of the week, is Flash, number 45. In this issue, original Wally meets Iris. This issue felt like a direct follow-up to the DC Rebirth one-shot. When Iris calls Wally by his name, I was just so happy to hear that. It like my heart skipped a beat because of how much of a Wally West fan I am. And also, shortly after they talk for a bit, Wally's pre-New 52 memories start flooding back into his head, and I think this is another starting point for Flash War, which is going to happen next issue. Also, we find out what happened to August, aka Godspeed, after the conclusion of Perfect Storm, and he is somewhere in some other dimension, I assume, and he's talking to an unknown entity, and this entity is using blue speech bubbles, which could be a sign that maybe Godspeed is working with Dr. Manhattan. I'm just saying, possibility. Overall though, this issue was extremely well written. It was a nice calm before the storm moment as we enter to the big Flash War arc, which has been hyped up since the last couple of months. And I think that Wally West fans who were excited that Wally came back, if they're not reading the Flash now, they need to start with this issue. Okay, that's it for my comic book review. Before I go, I just want to make a few announcements. First of all, I know that at the beginning of March I brought back the weekly reviews. Well, now I'm gonna have to put them on a hiatus for the next 3 weeks. The reason why is because I'm going through some stuff in my personal life, scheduling and everything for the next, it would take me about like the next 2 weeks to get through with it, so that's why you won't see anything for the next 2 weeks. And the third week though, I'm actually going to be out of town, so that's why that won't happen. But but for the week of May 23rd, that's when the weekly reviews will most likely return. So don't worry, don't unsubscribe or anything. They'll be back, I promise. Also, I will, even though I won't be doing the weekly reviews, I will have a review for Infinity War coming out. I think I do want to wait for it because I will be talking about spoilers, and I don't want to do it so soon after the movie, so I might wait and So I'm currently working on it, and I might upload it possibly next week or the week after, just to be safe. That's it for this video. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for staying subscribed and notified. Also, follow me on my social media. Links are in the description below. I'm Lewis, Spider-Man 991, saying see you later.